I am on a mission to semi-refurbish this lathe, and I got some stuff in my eye. The spring shot some stuff at me. Anyway, let me just show you. I want to show you where I'm at. I took it apart. Okay, it's not real complicated to take this stuff apart here. These bearings, you just kind of pop on, pop off. If you hear this, listen to this. It's not too bad, but it's they're a little bit grumbly. You hear that? And then this one, it's almost like they still might have worked. I didn't try to submerge them in oil. I could have probably tried to oil them, but it's just a little bit off. So I ordered new ones. I've got new ones. A guy on eBay kind of specializes in these bearings for these old machines, I guess. So, and they were cheap too. Like they were only like $35 for brand new bearings, and they'll be nice and smooth. So I got new bearings, and then this bed, the bed was rusted. I just did like a preliminary kind of a sanding and clean that up, and then I'm working on cleaning up all these parts right now. A little bit time consuming, just, you know, I still have to like just quickly do these ones, and I want to try this out, and also I just want to get it put together right now, and kind of I can push it out of the way. I might end up getting some wheels. Like it's pretty heavy, the base is heavy, and then especially with this on, it's gonna be super pushed out of the way. But then it should be operational once I get it put back together. I'll show you what I ran into here, in case anyone's wondering how it comes apart. These parts unscrew. What I'm trying to say is this was put together, and now it's not. And when I ordered them, I think they call this the outboard bearing, which to me, it seems like it should be called the inboard bearing, but I don't know what that's all about. This is how I've been cleaning parts. I put a little bit of WD. I like this one because it doesn't spray like a mist everywhere. Get some sandpaper. This is a roll of, this is 320 paper, so a little bit finer than 220. Obviously, right? But so I'm you know, just spray a little oil in there. Wear gloves. So this has like some wear marks on it. So same with this. Like I'll put a little oil. I'll put a little WD on there, and then basically just it's not like you're taking off a bunch of metal here. It's just kind of easing. It does kind of ease the edges a little bit in some cases, like old, you know, from the things when they were machined rough, and you know, it's almost like porting. Not porting an engine, but basically a lot of times, you know, you'll be cleaning it, and you know, you're just slightly easing some edges, but mostly just cleaning the rust. In this case, it has some rough metal spots on it. Like it has some little chunks and things. Like I don't know, who knows what happened there, but the new ones, sometimes they get them and they just pop. This is actually like, it's tight, but it's it has some tolerance where these, you know, can just pop together, because this is made to be like, if you have to change the belt, you got to pop this apart. So I'm finding it hard to explain here. So anyway, this was put together. See, like this back one, look, like that just popped right in. And then this one's a little tough. Anyways, like this almost could have been usable like it was, but I figure what the heck, you know? But so when I took this apart, I think I took a hammer and knocked it through this way. And the pulley was in here. So I took these, I loosened these screws or took them out because you gotta knock this through. Okay, I took these plates off first, knocked that through, and then just took like a pipe with, or like a wooden, just something, sorry, you know, I had like a hammer or something wooden, knock this out of there. Okay, that comes off. And all I'm trying to get at here is how I took this apart. And then like this one might have been stuck on there. So I put like a wood dowel in here or something like that, and then I used a pipe and knocked this off. And then I had to use something else to then knock the wood rod out because it was stuck in there. I've scraped these out. There was some stuff in there. I scraped it, lightly sanded them, basically just cleaned these surfaces. And then all this will go back together, hopefully. So I'll clean that a little more. And then other than that, I'm just cleaning mostly the mating surfaces. I'm not too worried. This is not a full restoration. It's similar to the other ones I've done. So it's like trying to make an operational tool. Okay. This is the one thing I did run into. So I started messing with this one. This was the part that actually had an issue. This is the clamping mechanism. It's like two cams, and it's supposed to release. So like when you tighten this, and it goes up against this. This is the tailstock thing. You can see this has some wear marks right here. What happened was this was stuck in here. This thing was kind of seized in there, and I took this apart. And this is when I had a bunch of crap on here, and when I took it, somehow this spring was like compressed and locked together, and then it just sprung and sprayed some nasty stuff at me. I didn't have safety glasses on, just like some of this grime. I have a little tap and die set, and I was cleaning up parts. Okay, like this one is the bolt that goes through. This is the bolt that rides along the bed, and then it goes through these two parts. It goes up here, and for some reason, like the middle threads were kind of smashed, almost like this, like flattened. So I ran that through a die, tap and die thing, or got that working good. So that was one. And then this one, at the time I didn't realize it was all jammed in there, and now I got it working again. But so I had unscrewed this from within there, and then this thing had a bunch of flattened threads also in the middle, and I don't know why. But long story short is this thing was jammed in there, and it probably wasn't working right, and so somebody was cranking the heck out of it, and it was just all jammed together. And actually what happened in the end, So I had cleaned the threads up on this, and also ran my tap down in here when it was in there. And this thing, you see it's got like some, well, half a threads. This is aluminum. It has a nut on the bottom. But due to the failure or the compression from somebody cranking on it, this thing was like an oval. It was out of circle, and it wasn't going in. You know, even now it's a little bit tight. So I put it in the clamp and squeezed it just to, I didn't want to break it, but just enough to get it circle. I tried sanding it at first. It had some rough spots and some high spots. So I sanded those and tried to clean it up, but then realized that it was really because it was kind of oblong. So like just lightly, I just tried to straighten this. And I got it enough where it was, it actually goes in now. So, and I tried, these parts are still a little dirty. I'm going to clean them up some more, sand them with some finer sandpaper, basically clean. I'm going to smooth all these parts real good. And then, when I put it back together, I'll grease it or oil it well. Put white lithium grease or maybe just regular grease. But so I'm going to clean all these parts, and then so like this is the top, and then the spring, and then this. And I've already tried it in there. So then this will go in there. Hopefully, somewhat. This kind of needs to go in there easily. Oh, whoops! The nut fell out. It was just in there. So, I didn't know that ahead of time. If I knew that ahead of time, I would have, just taken this out ahead of time instead of trying to run the tap down or whatever. So this thing was so compressed that these cams were not coming together, and the spring was like stuck out, and that's why so here's the, it was making this mark on here, so that's not supposed to be there. So that's what happened there. But that's about it. All I got to do is clean up all these parts and put it back together. I just like to make sure they're nice and clean before I actually do final assembly. Like this has got all kinds of grime and, crap on it. So I clean all that up and then oil it real good. Like this one, I had gone over a couple times. Like this, I even used the wrong, this is a 7/16, and I used a fine thread accidentally the first time. And then I realized, that you could see like the first one of these threads started to cut a little different. Luckily I caught it, and then, so I ran that through, a couple times and clean all that up. So that's pretty much it. But this this was the one that, this was the thing that actually went wrong. And the rest was just changing the bearings. So should be good. If I need, have a belt that's okay. I didn't get a new belt. You know, it should be okay to put together and be operational. Hopefully the motor works. It makes a little bit of a noise, a squeaky noise, similar to that joiner I did, but the joiner already kind of stopped. So once you run it for a while, and then this, I'm thinking, looks like somebody had this. This is all chewed up. I might be able to take this apart and clean these parts. So that's basically what I'm doing. Some of these could use a little wire wheeling, you know, like just these threads here. And then all I got to do is figure out which one of these caps goes where. I want to say this is the outside one for some reason. These are reversed. They're reverse threads, so actually it should be like this way. If the lathe is spinning this way, yeah, then it's tightening. You know, these are tightening all the time. So it'd be like that one and this one. I think this one's a reverse thread. I think it goes like that. I'm not sure. I'll probably find out if it. So I'm just going to clean that up, and should be ready to put back together. I'm just cleaning these parts a little bit more like this, you know, could use a bit of sanding, and then hopefully everything goes back. And then these parts, but yeah, somebody had cranked on this, and see, here's the cuts in the, I don't know if you can see this, but when I ran the tap down, well, you could see how that was, it was like sandwiched. I don't know what happened there, but I got it working before where it slid in there, and it would tighten up. It tightened up real good, and then it released also with the spring. So with a little more cleanup, I don't want to break this part for sure, but it was definitely out of round. And I'll show you what I did to straighten this out. Straighten this out. I had it on the end. It already looks a lot better, but this was basically like oblong. And this, so I did it with the nut on there too, which probably helped to not break it. But I put it in here, right in the middle, and got a real good, pretty good crank on it. You know, enough where it's gonna move something, and it straightened it out. It's looking pretty good. I don't want to overdo it or mess it up, but you can do it like that, or else you can look at it. I mean, like if it's a tiny bit off, then I go over here on the corner of the workbench and look at what was the, just kind of, you know, work it like blacksmithing, you know, just a little bit of hammering just to move it, but not, definitely wouldn't want to break it. Now with that put back together, then you keep these lined up, hopefully, right? And they tighten that up a bit, but they're supposed to line up like that. And then this is supposed to drop in freely. So it's still a little bit rough. It goes in, and then this part would go back in, and this thread's on, and then you can tighten this up, and it should be working where it's not, like you could move it with this crank, but it's a lot harder to move now than it was. So it's like it's holding it's holding pretty good. You know, you can't really move it by hand, but you can move it if you really crank on this. Still, it's holding pretty good. So, and then when you take it off, so like this comes out to the right, that'll release, and then you can see, let me get the flashlight here, and you can see in there, see that has, you know, it'll tighten. Well, it's supposed to stay in line, but it'll tighten. It'll tighten when it needs to, and then it will loosen. You know, it'll loosen back up. So long story short, this needs to be free and working, and it just seems to be working now. But it was so smashed where that it was stuck, basically. So I'm gonna like clean the threads one more time. I already double checked this, but I'm also gonna sand. It also had these high spots, which I sanded down. I filed some of them, but it's supposed to go like this. So that's the story on that. And also when it was stuck, okay, one thing I meant to mention is when I was stuck, I tried tapping, I tried doing other things, but what finally got me to get it off is I had loosened this up, and I used the hammer to pry up on it. So I got it like moving so far, like I used this. Hold on a second. This is gonna be the worst video in human history. Okay. So I was hitting like this. I used my broken wood hammer stick, and I had it like this, and I was like, you know, whacking on it like that, and then I had it up. It was still pretty stuck, and then I engaged the threads, and then just was like smacking it. I was like smacking it like this, which is putting pressure right here, and smacked it pretty hard, you know, and anyway, it finally came out. And then this was like this, and it had a whole bunch of gunk in here, and it just was like, and the spring like sprung apart and like shot debris in my eye, so that's not cool. Should have had safety glasses on. So that's the story. And so now all I gotta do is clean up all these parts. And this is not a full restoration, you know. I thought about sanding, cleaning, like this is a little bit rough, but I'm not really, I still don't want to do that. And I thought maybe you could even paint it later on. Like you can get to most things you need to paint. So I could do that later. But right now I just want to get it operational. So that's the story. And now I can just go ahead and move through. And I just wanted to show you how this is kind of an example of how I'm cleaning most parts on the lathe. Is like this table's a little bit getting a little patinaed and a bunch of marks on it. So this is kind of an example of it. This needs to have several layers done, or several passes, but like I just put WD-40 on it or some kind of oil and sand it, just sanding the grime off of it. Should probably get some new paper. Let me try a new piece of 120. Sorry, I had 220 on there, but it's kind of taking too long. So it's gonna get rid of the rust and dirt. You can see it's not real shiny, but it's noticeably lighter than this part. And that's just from a few minutes. And it gets better if you go through first time, second time, do it several times. And like I said, I really don't think it's really not like cutting off. Sometimes it'll hit maybe some high spots, which is again like kind of like easing the original castings a little. Like I don't think I've tried this. I've been to this before, and it's really not. Look at all that dirt that came off second time. So it's not like it's removing a whole bunch of metal, you know. So this is an example of what I'm doing to the parts on the lathe. Is I'm, you know, sanding them, cleaning them up in order to put it back together where they're, you know, fitting better and cleaned up, rust free and oiled, that kind of thing. So this table saw, I thought it would look better in the videos if I clean this. I wanted to clean this up anyway, so it's just like a quick example. So I hit this with 120 right now, and then I'll do a couple times of 220. Okay, that's just an example. I wanted to do that anyway, but you know, you could keep going for a long time with that probably and get down to real shiny if you really wanted to cut it down, but that looks a lot better than it did. It looks a lot shinier, so it's got a patina. But anyway, that's what I mean, like a patina. So I just wanted to show that because it just shows, you know, what I'm doing with some of these parts. Like, you know, when you clean it and you just sanding the rust and cleaning them up, basically, you know, mostly like the mating surfaces on this, and this will get oil, but this is definitely not a full restoration. Okay. So I'm going to proceed to cleaning these parts. Probably going to do like I said and double check the threads, this and that, and then maybe clean it up. You can do this anytime, but I really want to get this put back together and off the table, and then I'm going to do a few things. So we'll do that now. Okay, guys, I got this thing put together, and I still need to clean this. I need to clean this a little. It's not moving too well right here, but it's operational. It works. It's the lowest setting right now, and I messed around and I kind of cheated. I had a round dowel already, and this was the first turning, and I basically just made this round, and I'm gonna try it again. But all the tools, all these old tools I had, I got this kind of a collection of old turning tools, and pretty much every single one is dull, and I don't even know if I'm not sure that's for turning, but got some nice big large gouge, but all of them kind of had rolled edges. They're all very dull. I had one that was working a couple of skews. It's kind of a spindle gouge maybe, but they're just dull. They all got rolled edges, so I'm gonna sharpen all these real quick and then try it again, and show you one thing. I had to put one other repair I didn't film. One of these set screws was stripped out, and I tapped 3/8 coarse thread 3/8, and then I just made a set screw for that. So, and I went through I had to go back and check some stuff, and I had it right where this is turning the right way, and then everything is free. It's not. I had one time it seemed like it was rubbing on that outside. There's like a spring washer in there, but anyway, it seems to be working pretty well. I still need to clean up this mechanism in here, just so that this, I had it moving. Oh, there it goes. So that moves around. I'm just going to clean it a little better, but it does work, and it locks. So it's pretty good. And these wheels, they're not too bad now. If I set it on like a foam pad and lock the wheels, it stays pretty good. And the nice thing is I can push this out of the way when I'm done. So not too bad. And This is a dead center here. I ordered the wrong. I think I'm gonna get a live center. I'll probably end up getting like a some kind of a Ford jaw or a chuck thing, and I have a couple of things for bowls. So, but I'm totally new to this, so I'm just gonna be practicing. But right now I need to sharpen some tools because every single one of them is very dull. So I was looking at the angles. So I'm gonna. I got this old Craftsman. I got this old Craftsman thing. This is like a, I think it might be, I don't know if it's diamond stone, but this has, you can put water in here and it kind of keeps it wet. It's a little bit slow speed. I'm going to try that. Probably just going to have to freehand it for the most part because I don't know. These are supposed to be